Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Oceanside. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA, Master Spas, deboer wetsuits, Premium Plus Sports, SFuels, and their new all-zone fuels. You can get a free sample below. And our Challenged Athletes Foundation, we just sent out over $7 million in grants, 4,000 challenged athletes around the world. Our next guest, coming off of a really nice season last year, Braden Currie, won Ironman Cairns, probably for the second time or so. How you doing, Braden?
Yeah, we're good, Bob. Good to be here.
Always a pleasure. And I heard you had a little encounter with one of our great friends out there today.
Well, rumor has it, yeah.
You didn't see it,
I
right?
wasn't aware myself, but the drone hanging over my head could quite clearly see the shark swimming around underneath me. So a little bit of an excitement, but hey, they're out there.
Well, he's probably trying to get some tips. And it's like, hey, this guy swims pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he could see the way I moved through the water, and he just wanted to follow me for a while and check it out. Yeah.
We see little sand sharks out here all the time, but you didn't see it at all.
No, I didn't see it at all. Yep, the drone flying overhead picked it up, but yeah, I mean, so I'm sure there's bigger and worse things further out there too to worry about than a few sand sharks.
Yeah. So when I look at last year, fourth at 70.3 topo, and I know how much effort you put into training for the World Championships in Nice, training up in the mountains and doing everything. And when you get a penalty call like you got, and mentally, because you know in your mind you're like, what the hell is this going to mean? How hard was it to continue on and just not think about it?
Yeah, Nice was a pretty hard race for me.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had a fantastic swim.
Right there.
The Jan and was it Magna Matthias were first out of the water. On the bike, I tried to go with laid low, but realised that was probably the wrong thing to do for me pretty quick, and sort of settled back in, and halfway through halfway up the long climb, got caught by Magnus.
Yes.
And so it was Magnus, Bradley Weiss, myself, and Rudy Von Berg were all riding together. And that was a really good spot to be in. Like, that was kind of my dream result, really. I felt like that was the race, exactly. And climbing was kind of going to be my strength in a way. Flats, it's always hard to compare with Magnus. So when we got up to the flats, Magnus managed to pull away, and it was just before the descent that Cam Worth caught me, and that was probably again the perfect situation.
You could follow him down.
I could follow him on the descent. I knew he's a good descender, and I could probably sit with him, carry with him all the way through to the run.
Yes.
And then that would put me in a really good position to pull off a good run. So it was a couple of minutes of being with Cam, and we came into an aid station. I grabbed a bottle, filled up my bladder inside my thing, and I went to throw it, and there was a volunteer just standing on the edge of the drop zone. So I held it for maybe...
So you didn't hit him?
So I didn't hit the person, held it for maybe 5-10 seconds and rolled past the drop zone and threw it just on the backside of the drop zone.
Come on.
So I picked up a penalty. The French referee come in beside me and told me I had a penalty, and I sort of hit the wall a little bit. I spent a bit of time arguing with him.
While you're riding?
Yeah, soon realised that wasn't really going to go anywhere because he didn't speak a lot of English. And and then I guess things sort of started to crumble after that for me. 5 minutes, but then it was questionable whether they were going to dispute the penalty or whether I was going to get a DQ or how that was all going to work out. So in the end we disputed it, and we actually won the dispute, which was good. In a lot of ways was a success. At least it felt like it wasn't all my fault, really. But still, it definitely affected my race, and
no question.
It threw my head out a lot. Hindsight's a great thing. I'd love to look back at it and go, well, I should have just kept racing hard and seen, where I ended up, and if I got DQ'd at that point, then that would have been whatever. I could have taken the result and accepted it. But so it was a rough race, really. There was lots of good things about it, but then also the finish wasn't the result I was going for.
What's interesting is your background, being a guy who's, you're in a kayak, you're mountain biking, you're racing across New Zealand, you're dealing with highs and lows all the time. And, for someone like yourself, that's just different. right? When all of a sudden it's not anything you can control. You control. If you screw up in a kayak, or you screw up, or you go in the wrong direction, it's on you. Now you're sort of at the whim of somebody else.
Yeah,
who's making a decision on your career.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, it was at the whim of that referee, and obviously he felt that I was doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, and that's his call. But it definitely was pretty challenging to swallow that one. Still hurts to this day.
I'm sure.
Yeah. You look at how much as a professional you put into racing, and months and months of training, altitude, thousands and thousands of dollars.
Being away from the family, going up in the mountains and doing that. But that's the way you've always prepared. You prepare for every eventuality, but again, the stuff that you've done in the past, you control it all.
Yes.
I mean, nature, you don't control.
Nature you don't control, but you can work around it.
Exactly.
It's understandable. So, that one was definitely pretty tough.
Making the transition that you made a number of years ago to go to the roads, right?
Yep.
From your off-road guy, Xterra, and doing that type of racing. How hard was that transition going to the roads?
Yeah, I think, my sort of strength when I was sort of 23, 24 was endurance from the get-go.
Right.
I never had a huge amount of speed or power, but I could keep going for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So things like the coast to coast, which is, New Zealand's famous sort of race from one side of the country.
How many days is that?
Well, it's one day. It's 285K or something. It's got to go to 70K kayak and 100 and I don't know what it was all up, about 90 odd K of biking and
But mountain biking?
No, it's road biking.
Okay.
Yeah. But then it's got a 30, that's broken into 3 rides, and it's got a 32K mountain run in there as well. So it's sort of 12 hours of racing.
And you won that 4 times?
Yeah. I think 4 times now. That was my background, and then I stepped into Ironman. The challenges were obviously learning to swim, trying to make that swim group, figure that out,
right?
Discovering whether I could do a marathon off the bike. I think the transition to start wasn't too bad. Like domestically in New Zealand, obviously I had a good race and I managed to win Ironman New Zealand that year.
Right.
But
did you beat Cam Brown that year?
I did beat Cam Brown that year.
He was like the 800-time winner of the race.
Yeah. He's a phenomenal human, that guy, and still going strong. So we had some great races, but it definitely took a while. But like anything, I knew that the endurance was there, and if I could sort of piece it all together, we'd get there.
Well, and it's interesting. Bradley Weiss comes over from Xterra. I mean, a lot of guys realize that, to make dollars, there's more dollars on the roads. It's just the reality. Yeah,
it's dollars and it's competition. I think
deeper fields. Yeah.
I think for me, racing multisport was amazing, and I loved racing multisport. If I still could race multisport, I probably would.
Right.
But I love racing the world's best. Right. Like I really enjoy. I think the level that the top 60 guys in the world of Ironman take it is hugely professional, and they're counting calories, they're doing everything right, they're going to altitude, they're doing camps, they're putting so much work into it, and I think that's just kind of the level of competition that you get in Ironman that is, I guess, world's best competition within endurance sport.
Right.
I really enjoy that side of it. And true, financially, it's hard to make dollars in the off-road scene.
Yeah, you're sort of out in the middle of nowhere.
It's hard to get exposure when you don't see someone for 24 hours.
Yeah, that makes it tough.
It's not very exciting TV.
For you, winning Ironman Cairns or getting second at 70.3 World Championships, what means more? I'm sorry, not Ironman World Championship.
Ironman World Champs.
In St. George.
St. George, yeah. Well, I was a third member.
That's right.
I had a sprint finish with Lionel
being
Sanders.
at the pointy end of that race all day long.
Yeah, for me, obviously, Worlds. Like that was, again, the perfect race for me.
It was.
Big swim out the front, hilly course, and managed to keep that front bike group going. We had a really good bike group that year. There's sort of 5 of us that everyone took their turn and did the work, and we were putting time into the Cam Worths and the Lionel Sanders and all those guys. So and then put a marathon together, which is it definitely wasn't one of my better marathons, but it was it was still pretty solid. And I think it was great to be able to show that I can race on a world stage and be at the pointy end of the racing.
Well, and that was what? That was a 47-minute swim, 4:16 bike, 2:47 marathon, 7:54:19. Is that right?
Yeah, that was.
Most races on a course like St. George, you win that race.
I don't think actually before World Champs many have gone under 8 hours on that course in particular. So it was a tough course and a solid day out, and it was a great race.
Yeah, and you had like you said, you had a great group, a Power Five with was it Bakkegaard and Kyle and Florian and Sam Laidlaw.
Yeah, that was us. So it was a really good level of we were all riding pretty similar, and all pushing each other really well. So it was a really good group, and we worked fair, but we also worked well.
Was there any conversation at all, or was it all just intuitive that, okay, we're here, we know there's some guys back there who are going to try to bridge. We want to keep them away.
That's literally what it came down to at that point. Laidlaw hadn't done a huge amount of racing, long course and Bakkegaard too, and we're all pretty much in the same position. It was like, the further we can keep this group away from the Patrick Langs and
we all win.
The Lionel Sanders and the Christian Blumenfeld, the better chance we've got. So it might as well take all of us through to the start of the run and see what happens. It was good.
Do you look at that as one of your best races?
All round. I was pretty disappointed. Well, I was disappointed with my run.
2:47.
Yeah. I felt like I could have pulled together. I faded a lot in the back, and I probably could have pulled together a better run time than that.
Right.
And that would have obviously made pretty exciting racing with Christian at that point of time. If I could have applied one of my better runs, then that could have been the race.
How big a difference have the plated shoes made? Because you've been around long enough to be.
To see both sides of it.
Have not been, didn't have. All they know is plated shoes.
Yeah. I mean, I've still had my fastest run in non-plated shoes.
Really?
So who knows? I think running styles make a big difference. But I think for me, efficiency-wise, carbon plated shoes, they're just so smooth. If you've got really good surfaces, like here in Oceanside, it's a bit of a no-brainer. Like if it's a flat, fast course, then their efficiency, just being able to hold a good strong Ironman pace, then they're incredible.
You run here before?
Other than this morning, no.
No, but this is the first time you raced.
Yeah, first time I've raced Oceanside. Yeah.
Very cool. Now, so are you Ironman World Series or the Pro Series?
That's the plan. Yep. So we'll race here, we'll race Texas, then we'll head home. Race Ironman Cairns.
Yes.
And then we'll race Kona and Taupo 70.3 at the end of the year.
That's a good season.
It is a good season. It feels like it's broken into two. Front half's pretty loaded right now. And then we'll have a bit of a break and build into Kona and New Zealand.
Well, and having 70.3 Worlds on your home turf, that's pretty sweet.
It is, yeah. It'd be a really special way to finish off the year. Hopefully I can hold the enthusiasm for training right through because it makes for a long year. That's normally my off season. But it'll be great to have it there on a home course, and it should be really good racing.
It is going to be amazing. When I look at sort of the adventure racing scene, right, and when adventure racing was hot, really hot,
Discovery and
Discovery. So you were part of that whole era.
I was right on the end of that era, really. So there was a big scene, I guess, with adventure racing in China.
Right. Mile 7.
Yeah, multi-day. Yeah, Mile 7 and Wulong. And
did you do some of those?
Yeah, so I did a lot of them. So my first sort of 3 years racing was just racing. Maybe I raced 4 or 5 times in China each year kind of thing. It was sort of back and forward doing stage races, adventure races. So that was sort of the beginning of it. And I guess I missed the boat in that era because there was like the Nathan Faves and Richard Ushers and I guess who are the legends of adventure racing, who were right in that kind of Mile 7 and Discovery and Eco Challenge and stuff. And they made incredible money.
They made really good money.
Really worthwhile. Yeah, I remember Richard telling me a story about finishing work on a Friday night in New Zealand, flying to the States, somewhere in Colorado, doing a 24-hour race, jumping back on a plane and being in work at Monday morning. So Friday night, Monday morning, and making like 30-odd thousand from doing a 24-hour adventure race.
Now, were you in the era where with the adventure racing then, it was all about the navigation?
Yes. Yeah.
And you did some of those. So did you do some of those 24-hour navigation type races, or mainly the stage races?
Yeah, I mean, I've done like a one God zone. I had to pull out on day 4. With the female in our team, Alina, she had broken her rib, and it was really cold, so we weren't carrying on. I wouldn't say my navigation is amazing, but I've definitely raced with likes of Chris Vaughan, who's probably the best navigator in the world right now.
Yes,
and he's phenomenal.
So the sport has basically disappeared in the U.S. There's not much of it, especially with money. Is it still big in Asia and in Europe, or in Australia,
Asia's starting to come back now.
Okay.
It's obviously COVID hit Asia really hard, and they said probably last year they ran their first Wulong challenge again, which is a 5-day kind of the main money race in China. And there's a big expedition race called God Zone in New Zealand.
I don't even know about that one.
Yeah, kind of. I guess it took over from Eco Challenge in a lot of ways.
When Burnett went to Survivor.
Yeah, exactly. And it had gone really well for a long time.
Yes.
I think there could be something establishing pretty similar to it again now. So, yeah, it definitely has gone through some tough times. I hope that it'll make a comeback. Like I love
You'd still be in on something like that, right?
Well, yeah, expedition racing. You know, like Nathan Fave's world champ 5-6 times, and he's, I don't know, he must be getting on his wheelchair soon. He'll kill me if he hears this, but you can definitely adventure racing. You can keep racing for a bit longer.
I mean, it's funny. I'll see Robin Benincasa and some of the women who were racing back then, Danielle Ballingy, and it was really a cool era. And it's amazing when you see a sport come in, get hot, and just go away.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal era for adventure racing, and I would love to see it again. You know, it was such exciting racing and tough racing. Like you think, you know, people always think of Ironman as tough, and the world of hurt you go through in an expedition race.
You don't sleep.
You don't sleep for 5. You got sleep deprivation. Your feet fall to pieces. They get fungi growing everywhere. Parasites.
I remember people coming back from Borneo, and just with ticks and stuff under
some of the places that you end up racing to, you know, it's just
what's some of the weirdest things you've had happen during those races?
I remember probably one time we did a race where we paddled down the Yellow River and then crossed over, and that's like 3.5k wide. What's the second biggest river in the world or something? And then we had like a 32-hour stage through the Gobi Desert. And that was amazing. Like, that was an incredible experience, just all night missioning through the desert. And I have plenty of funny stories that probably not worth TV worthy. In the middle
they're
of the
all
desert,
TV worthy. Come on now, we got TV worthy. It's fine. We can have
but yeah, great experiences. And I was young, you know, I was 22.
I know.
Out there missioning with some of the world's best, and had some awesome experiences.
Is there anything better? You're out at, you got the moon, and you got your headlamp, and just, you don't really know what's next.
I don't know if there is much better than that. Like, I actually had experience again the end of last year. I went back and I climbed at Mount Aspiring.
Oh, okay.
It's probably third biggest mountain in New Zealand that it's been on my bucket list for a long time, and it was just that feeling again, you know, of being in the mountains. It was 2 a.m. We're climbing up this big icy face, just got head torches on, full moon, looking over this whole glacier. You're at sort of 3,000 meters. And it was just an amazing experience that I haven't done for a long time. With being so focused on road racing,
yes,
I guess I don't put myself in those environments as much.
Well,
anymore.
and a lot of times just that whole team aspect. You're only as good as your navigator. You're only as good as your other guys, and if they come apart, you don't have an option.
Your race isn't going far. Yeah. It was always a fun part to the racing and a tough part to the racing. Yeah, there's trying to look after 4 bodies in those environments. There was always going to be something come up, so there was never a clean race. There was always someone who got sick, and would have eaten something,
and the chemistry,
story carries on.
The chemistry,
the arguments, the
that's
fights.
what made it great television, right? Is people
3
coming
a.m.
apart
people
physically.
getting kicked out of the tent and big arguments.
Yeah, I love it.
That's good.
Braden, always a pleasure to chat with you, man.
Yeah.
You're going to love this course. This is a perfect course for you because the backside of Camp Pendleton is just spectacular, and in the ocean, in the bay, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with the course so far, and I guess we're hoping that the swell picks up, and they still keep it an ocean swim, and we get to.
There's supposed to be, I think there's a
storm
surf
tomorrow, surf warning,
yeah.
and then
should be okay Saturday.
Yeah, I think Saturday. I think the call's made for the swim tomorrow.
Yes.
So if they're judging off that kind of 4 or 5 foot tomorrow, they might put it in the
4 or
harbour.
5.
But it would definitely make for some exciting racing.
I was saying, why put the pros
out there, throw the pros out there,
think?
and then run the age groups. Why not?
Absolutely.
Like if you're racing pro and you're not comfortable swimming in 5 foot surf, then you're
to
probably in the
bay.
wrong place. Bring it on. It would split the course up, wouldn't it? You know, because we got how many guys? We got 65, 70 on the start line. Like if you want to split 70 guys up and make it a fair bike course, then put them out in the decent surf.
You put Lionel and Sam and some of those other guys in the surf.
Give me some good deficits coming out.
I'll see them floating by here at about 10 o'clock in the morning. Always a pleasure, Braden. Thanks for taking time.
Nah, it's good.
Braden Currie has been our guest. Everybody. Again, Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Oceanside. Hold on. We'll be right back.